When your creative director's scornful glare brands your life's work as irrelevant, you know the betrayal was a meticulously laid trap. "We need fresh perspectives for our next launch," she explained during my termination. "Someone who understands current market trends." My name is Rowan Kessler, 43 years old, lead product designer at Peak Pulse Gear in Denver, Colorado for 8 years. Or at least I was until that Tuesday morning, when Sasha called me into her office, with Nora from Human Resources already seated beside her. I'd felt it coming for months. Ever since Sasha took over as creative director, bringing her high-fashion aesthetic to our rugged outdoor brand, everything I designed, practical, durable, built for actual wilderness, suddenly wasn't forward-thinking enough. "Your work lacks the innovation we need moving forward," Sasha continued, sliding the termination papers toward me with perfectly manicured nails that had never gripped a hiking pole. I nodded, kept my face neutral. 8 years of my designs had built this company's reputation among serious outdoors people. The Trailblazer Series backpacks were my creation, the adaptive layering system that won 3 international design awards, mine. But none of that mattered now. I thanked her for the feedback, packed my sketchbooks, unplugged my tablet, and walked out. As I left Sasha's office, she leaned forward, her voice dripping with venom. "Don't think you can compete with us, Rowan. Step out of line and I'll make sure the industry buries you." I turned, meeting her gaze. "You're stealing my work, Sasha. The world will see it." Her smirk faltered, but she waved me off. What Sasha didn't know, I'd been quietly developing a portfolio on my own time. Designs Peak Pulse had rejected, claiming they were too experimental or not aligned with our demographic. Designs I still believed in. As I drove home, my phone buzzed with a text from Levi in product development. This place just made the biggest mistake of its corporate life. Levi called minutes later, his voice hushed. "Sasha's been planning this, Rowan. She told Bryce you were dead weight. I found your designs on her desk, marked as his. She's stealing everything." My grip tightened on the wheel. "Keep that quiet, Levi. I'll handle it." I learned design at my grandfather's workbench in Bozeman. He crafted custom wooden kayaks, teaching me how function determined form. No wasted space, no superfluous details, just purpose made physical. I carried that philosophy through design school and into my career. When I joined Peak Pulse, they were struggling. Good products with poor design execution. I rebuilt their entire aesthetic from the ground up. The CEO back then, Malcolm, understood what I was doing. "Make stuff that works first, looks good second," he'd said. "The people who actually use our gear will notice." He was right. Within 4 years, our sales had tripled. Outdoor enthusiasts trusted the brand because the product solved real problems. The Trailblazer backpack line balanced weight distribution so perfectly that professional guides specifically requested them for extended expeditions. The climate sync layering system adapted to temperature changes without adding bulk, award-winning innovation born from understanding actual needs. 5 months ago, I confronted Sasha after she trashed my latest pitch. "You're dismissing designs that could redefine our brand," I said, pointing to my all-season gear concepts. She laughed, cold and sharp. "Rowan, your ideas are relics. Bryce's vision is the future." I stepped closer. "You're wrong, Sasha, and you'll pay for underestimating me." Her eyes flashed with warning. "Careful, Kessler, you're on thin ice." Then Malcolm retired. The company brought in Camille as CEO, who hired Sasha from the luxury fashion industry to elevate the brand. Suddenly, meetings were about aesthetic direction rather than performance specs. My designs were questioned, then sidelined. The newer designers, mostly fresh graduates with digital portfolios but no field experience, started getting the prime projects. 4 months ago, I submitted concepts for our next generation of all-season gear. Sasha dismissed them as uninspired. The following week, I saw her present remarkably similar concepts to the executive team, credited to Bryce, her recent hire from a high-end apparel brand. That night I called Isaac, an old friend who'd moved to Summit Pulse Outfitters, Peak Pulse's biggest competitor, as their materials specialist. "How's your contract looking these days?" he asked after I explained the situation. "No non-compete," I replied. "Malcolm thought they were unethical." Isaac went quiet for a moment. "Interesting." Very interesting. Isaac's voice grew urgent. Sasha's bad news, Rowan. She's done this before. Stealing designs, ruining careers. Get out and fight back. The termination package was generous enough, 4-month salary and extended benefits, professional courtesy for 8 years of service. I signed the papers without argument and drove home in silence. My apartment felt different that afternoon, smaller, yet somehow more open. I sat at my drafting table and spread out the sketches Sasha had rejected over the past year. There were 15 collections in total, each one meticulously detailed, each solving specific problems for serious outdoor enthusiasts. Sophia, my wife, saw the sketches and gripped my hand. "They tried to break you, Rowan," she said, her voice fierce. "Don't let them win. Take your designs and make them regret this." I studied them as the evening light faded. I'd been designing as if I still worked for the old Peak Pulse, the one that valued function and durability, but that company didn't exist anymore. It had become something else, chasing trends instead of serving needs. My phone rang at 8:00 p.m. Kira Langston, creative director at Summit Pulse Outfitters. "Isaac mentioned you're available," she said without preamble. "Says you're the real talent behind Peak Pulse's glory days." I said nothing, just waited. "Got anything worth looking at?" she continued. "We're planning our spring collection, could use some fresh thinking." I looked down at my rejected concepts. "I might have a few ideas." "Send them over tonight. If they're good, we should talk." Kiera's tone sharpened. "Sasha's name's poison in this industry, Rowan. Show us your designs and we'll make sure she pays for crossing you." After we hung up, I spent 4 hours refining 8 designs, not changing the core concepts, just sharpening the presentations. At 1:00 a.m. I emailed them to Kiera with simple notes explaining the functionality behind each one. Then I went to bed and slept better than I had in months. The next morning I woke to an email from Kiera. "My office, 11:00 a.m. Bring your contract terms." I showered, dressed in my field jacket and boots rather than office clothes, and drove to Summit Pulse's headquarters across town. The receptionist led me straight to Kiera's office, a space cluttered with material samples and prototype gear, not sleek and minimal like Sasha's. Kiera gestured to a corkboard where she'd pinned printouts of all 8 of my designs. "These solve problems we've been chasing for 3 seasons, she said simply. "Especially this one." She tapped the centerpiece of my collection, a modular all-season system that adapted to different conditions without sacrificing mobility. "How soon can you start?" she asked. "I'm available now," she nodded once. "Good, because we're going to move fast on these, very fast." For the first time since Sasha arrived at Peak Pulse, I smiled. Kiera leaned forward, her eyes intense. "We're not just hiring you, Rowan. We're declaring war on Sasha. Your designs will crush her." 1 week into my new position at Summit Pulse, I got a call from Owen, Peak Pulse's production manager. We'd worked closely together for years, solving manufacturing challenges, finding the balance between innovative design and practical production. "Rowan, this is unofficial," he said quietly, "but things are falling apart. Bryce's designs look good in renderings, but they're a nightmare to manufacture. Materials don't flex the way he thinks they should. The prototype backpacks are coming in 3 pounds heavier than specified." "Not my problem anymore," I replied, though a part of me still cared. "Sasha's claiming you left the team without proper documentation on your production processes," Owen continued. "She's telling executive leadership that you sabotaged the transition." That made me sit up straight. "That's a lie." Owen's voice dropped. "She's spreading it everywhere, Rowan. Says you're a traitor who stole designs. Camille's buying it. You've got to fight this." "I know, but she's convincing." "Camille asked me if there was any merit to it." My blood ran cold. This wasn't just about moving on. Sasha was actively undermining my professional reputation. Against my better judgment, I emailed Camille requesting a meeting to clear the air. She agreed to coffee the next morning. The cafe was busy, which I thought would be good. Neutral territory, public place. Camille arrived 15 minutes late, already looking at her watch. "I'll be direct," I began. "I've heard Sasha is suggesting I deliberately left the team without proper documentation. That's not true. All my files are organized in the shared drive. and I personally trained Bryce on my process before I left." Camille nodded, her expression unreadable. She leaned in, her voice low and threatening. "Sasha warned me you'd lie, Rowan. Stay out of our way or we'll destroy your name in this industry." I held her gaze. "You're backing a thief, Camille. The truth's coming for you both." She mentioned you might get defensive about this. "Look, Rowan, the outdoor industry is small. I'd hate to see your reputation damaged by this unpleasantness. The threat was thinly veiled. Stay quiet or we'll make this difficult for you." "I appreciate your concern," I said carefully. "I'd hate for Peak Pulse to waste production resources on designs that can't actually be manufactured effectively." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "We'll manage our production challenges internally. Thank you. I do hope you'll be discreet about company matters going forward." As she left, my phone buzzed with a text from Kiera. "Contract's ready. We want to move fast on your all-season collection." 3 days later, I received a certified letter from Peak Pulse's legal department. They were reviewing my employment history regarding potential confidentiality concerns. The letter carefully avoided making direct accusations but implied I might have violated company policies. I showed it to Kiera, who immediately handed it to Summit Pulse's legal team. "Standard intimidation tactic," their counsel explained after reviewing it. "They have no case. The designs you're creating for us are original and you had no non-compete clause. They're trying to scare you into backing down." "Should I respond?" I asked. "No, we'll handle it." Kira grabbed my shoulder. "Sasha's desperate, Rowan. She knows you're about to expose her. We've got your back. Let's bury them." That evening, the lawyer sent a simple, devastating reply to Peak Pulse. "We have extensive documentation of Mr. Kessler's rejected designs while at your company, along with the dates they were submitted and subsequently dismissed. We would welcome the opportunity to compare those with your current product development timeline in court." 2 days passed with no further communication from Peak Pulse. Then Owen called again. "What did you do?" he asked. "Sasha had a closed-door meeting with legal, and she came out looking like she'd seen a ghost." I said nothing. Owen's voice was urgent. "She's accusing you of espionage, Rowan. Says you hacked her files. She's losing it. Help me before she takes us all down." I stayed calm. "Hold tight, Owen. The truth's on our side. Just watch your back," he warned. "She's not giving up." 2 days later, Isaac invited me to lunch. We met at a taco joint downtown, far from both our company's headquarters. "You need to see this," he said, sliding his tablet across the table after ordering. It displayed Peak Pulse's internal marketing brief for their spring collection. Somehow, Isaac had gotten his hands on it. I scrolled through and stopped cold when I saw the mock-ups. They were my designs, the exact concepts Sasha had rejected 7 months ago, now rebranded as the Ascent series with Bryce's name listed as lead designer. "They are planning to launch in October," Isaac said quietly. "Full marketing push. They've already ordered materials." The realization hit like a physical blow. She rejected these designs knowing she'd use them later. "She just didn't want me to get the credit," Isaac nodded. Isaac's eyes burned with anger. "Sasha's a fraud, Rowan. She's been stealing from you for months. Let's make her pay, now." "Looks that way, but here's something else you should know." He took the tablet back, opening another document. "Summit Pulse is planning to fast-track your collection. Kiera convinced the CEO to move up production. They can have your designs on the market by September." I sat back, processing this. A month before Peak Pulse launches. Yes, and with proper attribution to you as designer. Isaac looked me straight in the eye. "But you need to decide now, once production starts. There's no turning back." I didn't hesitate. "Let's do it." That evening, I called Kiera and formally accepted Summit Pulse's accelerated timeline. The contract included something Peak Pulse had never offered: royalties on each unit sold with my designs, plus creative control over the final production specifications. "We're calling it the Apex series," Kiera explained. and we want your name featured in the marketing. 2 days later, I signed the paperwork in Summit Pulse's headquarters and handed over my complete design files. Not just concepts, but detailed production specifications, material requirements, and manufacturing guidelines. When I got home, there was an email from Sasha in my personal inbox. "Rowan, I hope this message finds you well. I was reviewing some of our upcoming designs and realized we might benefit from your expertise in a consulting capacity. Would you be open to discussing this?" I replied instantly, "You stole my designs, Sasha. The industry's about to know it. Good luck." The following week, I toured Summit Pulse's manufacturing facility with their production team. They'd never attempted anything like my modular system before, components that worked independently but functioned best as a cohesive unit. The lead engineer, Fiona, pulled me aside after the tour. "These designs are revolutionary," she said bluntly, "but they're also complex as hell to manufacture. If we're really hitting this facility every day, I need you in this facility every day, whatever it takes," I told her. For the next month, I worked 18-hour days. I slept on a cot in the facility office 3 times when we were testing insulation systems. The production team grew to respect me when they saw I understood the practical challenges they faced. Unlike Sasha, I didn't dismiss manufacturing concerns as someone else's problem. Halfway through the process, I received another email from Camille. "We should discuss your current activities for your own professional future." Another threat. Another attempt to control what they'd thrown away. I forwarded it to Summit Pulse's legal team without comment and kept working. Fiona saw the email and scoffed. "Camille's panicking, Rowan. She knows your Apex series will destroy their knockoff. Keep going, we're making history." Summit Pulse moved with astonishing speed. Within 4 weeks, they had prototypes of my all-season collection. I spent days in their workshop fine-tuning details, working directly with their production team to ensure every specification was perfect. The Apex series consisted of 6 interconnected products: a modular backpack, all-weather outerwear with removable components, adaptive footwear, ergonomic camping equipment, specialized accessories, and a lightweight shelter system. Each piece worked independently but functioned best as a system, something I'd been trying to get Peak Pulse to understand for years. Kira brought me into marketing meetings, something Sasha had never done, and listened when I explained the practical benefits that should be highlighted. "These aren't fashion statements," I told their team. "They're tools for people who depend on their gear in extreme conditions." In late August, whispers started circulating in the industry. Retailers who'd gotten preview samples of the Apex series were impressed. Online forums buzzed with speculation about Summit Pulse's unexpected direction. Then came the call from Owen at Peak Pulse. "Rowan, did you—" He stopped abruptly. "Never mind, I shouldn't be asking. What's happening over there?" I asked, though I could guess. "Camille saw Summit Pulse's preview catalog," Owen said quietly. "The Apex series is remarkable. Sasha is in full panic mode, claiming they stole concepts from us." I remained silent. "The thing is," Owen continued, "we both know these aren't stolen from Peak Pulse's current concepts. They're your original designs, the ones Sasha rejected, aren't they?" Owen's voice cracked. "Sasha's threatening to fire me for speaking out, Rowan. She's desperate. Please, make her pay for this." "I can't comment on that," I replied carefully. "You don't have to," Owen said. "Your name is on them, clear as day in the catalog. Designed by Rowan Kessler, former lead designer at Peak Pulse. It's brilliant." The following day, Camille called. I let it go to voicemail. Her message was curt. "Rowan, this is unprofessional. We should discuss this situation immediately." Instead, I drove to Summit Pulse's headquarters for the final product launch meeting. The marketing campaign was ready. The manufacturing lines were set. In 2 weeks, the Apex series would hit specialized retailers nationwide, 1 month ahead of Peak Pulse's planned launch of the suspiciously similar Ascent series. The night before our launch, I couldn't sleep. 8 years at Peak Pulse, countless prototypes, hundreds of sketches. All that work had led to this moment. Not the way I'd expected, but maybe the way it needed to happen. At 4:00 a.m., unable to rest, I sat at my drafting table, sketching new ideas. My phone buzzed. A text from Kira. "It's live. Website just went up. First orders already coming in. I felt a surge of vindication and sadness. I hadn't wanted it to end this way with Peak Pulse. I'd given that company everything, but they'd chosen Sasha's vision over mine, style over substance. Now the market would decide which approach was right. By the time I checked my phone again, I had 22 missed calls from unknown numbers, outdoor journalists, industry bloggers, and gear reviewers, all trying to get the story behind Summit Pulse's surprising new collection, and one message from Sasha: "You've made a serious mistake." I finally called her back. "No," I said when she answered, my voice steady. "You stole my designs and thought you'd get away with it. The industry's watching, Sasha." "Your lies are unraveling," she gasped, then hung up. The Apex series launched on September 10th. By noon, Summit Pulse's website had crashed 3 times from traffic volume. Their customer service lines were flooded with retailer calls trying to increase their orders. I watched it unfold from Kira's office as outdoor magazines and gear reviewers published their advance reviews. Revolutionary, game-changing, sets a new standard. My name appeared in every article. 3 days after the launch, Outside Magazine ran a feature comparing the Apex series to leaked images of Peak Pulse's upcoming Ascent series. The headline said it all: "Separated at birth, the curious case of 2 identical product lines." The article didn't explicitly accuse Peak Pulse of theft, but raised questions about the timeline, noting that I had designed both collections, though Peak Pulse was crediting Bryce for their version. Outdoor forums exploded with speculation. Industry insiders who knew me from trade shows connected the dots immediately. Social media, filled with side-by-side comparisons and pointed questions about intellectual property. Kira showed me the article, her eyes gleaming. "We've got them, Rowan. Sasha's fraud is exposed and your name's everywhere. This is your victory." Camille called again. This time I answered. "This is completely unacceptable," she began without greeting. "You've deliberately undermined our company." "I design products for a company that hired me to do exactly that," I replied calmly. "Products you're now selling under someone else's name." Camille's voice shook with rage. "You'll pay for this, Kessler. We'll sue you into oblivion." I laughed softly. "Go ahead, Camille. My emails proving Sasha's theft are ready for court. Are yours?" "We'll need to discuss legal options," she threatened. "That would be interesting," I said. "I have emails from Sasha rejecting these exact designs 7 months ago. What would a court make of the fact that you're now producing them with someone else's name attached?" Silence stretched between us. "You should have valued what you had," I added quietly. "Good luck with your launch." The following week, Peak Pulse announced they were postponing the release of their Ascent series for additional refinement. Industry analysts saw it for what it was: a retreat. By November, the Apex series had broken all previous first-quarter sales records for Summit Pulse. My royalty checks reflected the success, already exceeding my annual salary at Peak Pulse. Kiera promoted me to design director, giving me a team of 7 designers and complete creative control over our next 4 seasonal collections. Isaac transferred from materials to join my department as technical advisor. Peak Pulse eventually released a hastily redesigned collection that bore little resemblance to my work. The reviews were lukewarm. Their stock price dropped 10% the following quarter. I ran into Sasha at an industry conference in Salt Lake City that spring. She was at the bar alone, nursing a drink, as I walked past. "Congratulations on your success," she said, stopping me. Her voice carried no warmth. I nodded but said nothing. Sasha's eyes burned with resentment. "You think you've won, Rowan? This isn't over. I'll make sure you regret this." I stepped closer. "You stole from me, Sasha. The industry knows it. You're done." "You could have stayed and fought for your designs," she added. "Why didn't you?" I considered this for a moment. "Some places don't deserve the fight." She flinched slightly, then composed herself. "Camille is stepping down next month. The board asked me to take over temporarily." I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "Good luck," I said, and meant it. The industry needs strong companies. 7 months later, I received an unexpected package. It contained all my original sketchbooks from my time at Peak Pulse, along with a handwritten note from Owen. These belong to you. Sasha's gone. Just thought you should know. I opened one book to a concept I'd drawn 4 years earlier, a modular shelter system for extreme weather conditions. Something I'd never shown Sasha. That evening I called Kiera. I have an idea for our spring collection, I said. Kiera's voice crackled with excitement. Let's keep the momentum, Rowan. Sasha's a ghost now. Your designs are the future. The following summer, Summit Pulse's stock value had tripled. Peak Pulse announced they were restructuring under new leadership. I didn't follow the news too closely. I was too busy designing what came next. Sometimes at night I still think about my years at Peak Pulse. Not with bitterness anymore, but with clarity. They taught me something valuable, just not what they intended. In this industry, in life, your work speaks for itself when given the chance. Sasha tried to silence mine, but in doing so, she only amplified its voice. Sophia hugged me that night, her voice soft but proud. You didn't just beat them, Rowan, you redefined what winning means. The best revenge wasn't in proving her wrong, it was in finally finding a place that recognized what I'd known all along. That good design isn't about following trends, it's about solving real problems for real people. And that, in the end, is what endures.